typing on the computer, we often see that red squiggly line under a word. And this spell check program tells us that that word is spelled incorrectly. So when I'm typing out my homilies, I often type fast and misspell words at first. And naturally, I often type God, but the I and the O are right next to each other on the keyboard. So I sometimes accidentally type Gid instead of God. But I do not get the red squiggly line. So that means that Gid is a word. And so one day I was curious, and I decided to look up the definition of Gid. And it turns out that Gid is a type of disease common among sheep. It affects the brain and causes confusion and a stagger among those sheep affected. So in today's gospel, Jesus looks out at the crowd and is moved with pity for them because they are like sheep without a shepherd. So as a result, Jesus teaches them many things. Without strong leadership and clear direction, we are like sheep that suffer from Gid. We just stagger along in confusion. When I am typing quickly, I sometimes type Gid when I really mean God. In a similar way, we are searching for God, but we sometimes miss the mark. That is why forming our consciences through the teachings and example of our shepherd, Jesus, is so important. We can compare our consciences to that red squiggly line that appears when we misspell a word. This feature makes it very clear that we need to go back and correct something that is wrong. But sometimes, as in the case with Gid and God, that line will not appear if the word is technically correct. So too, in life there is a time and place for everything. And there are many things that are fundamentally good. But in certain contexts, that is not the time or place for that. Or in other cases, it may be too little or too much of a good thing. So depending on how our consciences are formed, we may or may not recognize that. On the other hand, there are very technical Catholic terms that spell check does not recognize. I sometimes get the red squiggly line for a word that is actually spelled correctly. So in this life, we must guard against those telling us that something is wrong when it is right. That is why forming our consciences in true faith is crucial. Christ is our good shepherd, and we are his sheep. He leads us and guides us to do what is right in its proper time, place, and measure. His message is clear and direct. And Christ has entrusted members of his church to continue this message. Formed by our consciences, as Christians, we are called to support others from staggering to walking firmly in faith, from confusion of mind to the light of clarity and understanding. The opening of John's Gospel reminds us, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And Jesus is the Word made flesh. And as Christians, we strive to follow Jesus, the Word made flesh, and our Good Shepherd. And we want to pass on his message in the proper way. And like that red squiggly line, we are constantly reminded of the warnings and reminders about what is right and wrong. So following our Good Shepherd, may we not accept Gid when we really want God. And like the Word made flesh, may our own words always be proper and true.